Hello, my name is Wolford. This is my CSC 340 final project. Looks like my AirPods are about to die. This is like my third take. I'm going to try and go as quick as I can. I realize that I talk a little too much, so I'm going to try and run through this as fast as I can. Just give a quick little overview and run through each point. I've got the PDF open down below with the little pieces to go through, so make sure I don't miss anything. First thing is what your project does and its purpose. I chose to go the route of the used car dealership, which already has the requirements listed out. So you're probably super aware of its purpose and everything because I went and followed those requirements. But it's a full stack server side rendered web application for a used car dealership. Visitors can browse the vehicle inventory. Registered users can make service requests. Employees can do things like manage the service requests and some operational stuff, and then owners have full control over vehicle listings and everything like that. To give a very quick overview on those levels to kind of just show the front end here, I'll kind of go through each level very quickly. First is a not logged in user. You can go to the homepage, you can browse vehicles, you can see vehicle details and reviews. You can't post a review, but you can see them. You've got the contact screen, so you can send a message to the dealership, and you got service requests, which you can't access as a user who's not logged in. If I logged in as a user, let's see, user at dealership.com. Let's see, type it in that password there. Boom. If you log in, you can see your service requests. You can make new ones. You can view current ones that are outstanding. You can cancel them. You can view the status history. And I'll go in to show the dashboard view on, again, this is to fulfill that requirement of that like multi-stage, multi-step process. So yeah, that's the service request. And then and when you're actually logged in, you can also go and add a review as well. So the standard user really just enables you to do service requests and reviews. Showing the employee side, let's do employee at dealership.com. Standard password here. If I go to the dashboard, you can see this is the employee dashboard. This is going to allow you to see the messages that came in that were submitted. I added a little feature where you can resolve or unresolve them to keep your attention on important things. You can view and edit some vehicle details, just the price description and availability, not the full stuff. And then you can open requests. You can give updates on these and say, we did this thing and update the request. It'll add a little entry or an encounter into the status history. That'll show on the user's end as well. By default, all the completed ones are hidden, but you can show them. And then you can also moderate reviews as an employee. You can't manage your users. You can't manage the vehicle categories and the full vehicle details. To go into, start as fast as we can here, owner at dealership.com. Standard password here. If I go to the owner dashboard, you can see I've got 4 different areas I can go into. I can now manage the categories for the vehicles. And then I can also actually view all vehicle detail, even the images as well. And then I can do the requests and the reviews like before. Then I can also go and manage users as well and change their permission levels. So it's got all the things for the employee and more. The next one that we've got here is, so I showed the different user roles and the capabilities, how that one technical challenge you solved and how. One technical challenge, the thing I think I ran into the most issues with was the images. Kind of forced me to think a little bit harder. So regular forms post unencoded, or I'm sorry, I say un, I don't know why I said un, URL encoded data, but a file field is like multi-part. So it has a lot of issues with that. I had to use something called Multer to stream uploads to the disk. This only works in local environments. It doesn't work in production environments. And I followed, the messages that I received from the teacher to just kind of implement it at like a low level. It was beyond the scope of the project in the class to get this to work at a production level. So what I mean is on the actual production site, if you create a vehicle and upload an image, it won't persist in the disk because it doesn't actually go and upload the image in the repository. It'll only do that if you're in a local environment, but it does work in the local environment. But yeah, getting it to handle all the edge cases with all the different file types like JPEG and AVIF and PNG and whatever, different file sizes, just lots of different edge cases to get it to work. But using Multer and a global error handler, I was able to get the uploading portion to actually work. And then from there, it was really simple. It was just assigning image URLs to different vehicles, and then just having the database read the images from the URL. Wasn't too hard. But yeah, to continue, because I'm already at 5 minutes, the next part says your database schema, show your ERD. I've got that here in my README file. You can see we've got a users table, we've got a vehicles table, a vehicle images table, service requests, categories, reviews, everything. You can see these foreign keys that are relating to each other. And the only thing that's not really connected with any foreign keys is the messages that people send, because you can send those even if you're not a logged in user. So those aren't tied really with any foreign keys to anything else. But everything else is standardized with foreign keys, so everything's relating to each other properly, like the vehicles and their images and the service request status, the users and their roles and everything like that. I just exported this ERD image from pgadmin and then shifted things around so you can see it a little bit easier. The next is open a route or controller file, explain how a request flows through your application. So the one that I'll choose to explain for an example is this interaction right here, where you click on a vehicle and see its actual details. So this is like a detail screen. So to go into here first, we're going to be going to, obviously, an actual server.js file is where we kind of mount all the routes and have some middleware. But in the actual public.js, the route file, you can see here that when you're going to get a vehicle by its ID, we are using this function show vehicle detail. So I click into that. That's going to open inside of my controller, my public controller, because any user can view this, even if they're not logged in. You can see in here that we're rendering all of the details. This is where, or at least this is where we're calling the functions in the model and actual database to get data. So we're rendering things like the vehicle, the reviews, the user review. If they're logged in, it'll show their own review kind of in its special spot, and all the different details. That is coming from the actual, I think I've got this open in the, let's see, models vehicle.js. Yeah, here we are. Get vehicle by ID. We've got an SQL query here actually going and requesting all that data from the database. Another thing that's being displayed as well alongside this that you can see inside of this show vehicle details is all the reviews. So in the actual review.js model file, here's an example of one piece of it. We're submitting an SQL query to get the vehicle ID, the rating, the actual body text and everything. So it's going to be going into these different model files to call these functions to request this data from the actual database through SQL query. Sorry, I mixed my words. We're trying to go fast. And then all of that data getting collected or requested and then being displayed in the actual detail.ejs view file. So you can see all these template literals that are displaying the mileage, the year, the make, the model. It's all that data is actually being, I don't know the correct word here, but flowing into this this detail.ejs page. And that's kind of the flow showing you that. So you can see this, the actual detail page here. So that's kind of an example of a route controller file, kind of the flow from, like it says here, routing, middleware, controller, model, and view. Next is show your authentication middleware and explain how it protects routes. So yeah, if we jump back into, let's go to middleware auth.js. Boom. So first, we've got the authentication as well as authorization. So here we're saying, is the user in a session? So basically, are they logged in? If they're not, and they're trying to access something, we'll call this authentication middleware on all the protected pages. And so it's like, hey, are they even in a session? If they're not, then go back to the original URL and say, hey, please log in, display a flash message. So that's what it looks like. If I log out here and try to go to like service request, please log in to continue. That's because they're not even logged in. And then the actual authorization, viewing what role they are, you can see here if they're not the appropriate role, then redirect them to the login page, same as up here, and say, hey, please log in to continue. And then if they are the correct role, then it'll actually let them, or and then if you are logged in and you're the wrong role, it'll just say, hey, you don't have access to that page. So to show an example of that, let's just do employee@dealership.com, standard password here. If I try and go to, for example, slash dashboard slash owner, it'll say, hey, you don't have access to that page. So that's demonstrating the authentication and authorization there. Piece of code that I'm really proud of. I will go really quick on this. Something I'm really proud of is that when on any page, if you shrink the screen size, there is this responsive and animated navigation bar. I spent probably way too much time on this than I should have, but it's really cool. You can even, it's got these accessibility tags like the area or ARIA, however you say it, expanded and controls and everything. You can even, if it's open, you can even hit escape on your, oh, that's not what I wanted. You can hit escape on your keyboard. I can get rid of that. That's my recording thing. But I can, if I open this up, I can like click escape on my keyboard and it'll close. And then you've got all of these like hover animation triggers, and then you can, it'll display on any page you're in. So even if I go to like contact or browse vehicles or whatever, got the nice animation pushing the content down and everything. So yeah, it'll only show on those smaller screen sizes. I was really proud of that. Kind of went above and beyond, really focusing on that when I probably didn't need to, but I thought that that made a really good user experience for the phone screen sizes. You can even get really small and everything is just really responsive and looks really good. So lots of responsiveness there. Part 3, reflection. I'll do this quick. First is, what am I most proud of learning this semester? I think just everything with the whole request lifecycle. So from Express to middleware, error handling, database, and then back as HTML, just like being able to follow the request response lifecycle all the way from making a request into routes, into controllers, into models, back into a view and displaying to the user. Just understanding that entire lifecycle is what I'm most proud of. What stood out from your experience building the Cloud project? I really liked features that were accessible from like different, like they kind of cross boundaries between users. So I can like submit a request as a user and then as an employee or an owner going in and being able to resolve and like submit little updates on the different service requests here is really cool. I really like getting like different access points. Like there's one entity that I can access from different users. I thought that was really cool. That really stood out to me. I felt like that was the most valuable thing from here. The reviews, service requests, anything like that, vehicles. Compared to this, let's see, compared to the start of the course, how has your understanding of backend development grown? I think that for me, backend felt like this, like almost like this vague term that was thrown out as like, oh yeah, that gets handled with the backend. It was like this complex, vague, non-understandable enigma, just this scary, large, ambiguous backend, right? And so now I actually understand. I don't understand everything about backend, but it really enabled me to understand kind of the MVC model, right? Like you've got different. It's not like a mystery anymore. Like I understand the different pieces and the different ways that you construct a backend and the flows that different requests run through, how requests are handled when there's errors. Like it isn't a mystery anymore. It actually conceptually makes sense how things work in the backend of the different pieces, the views and the models and the controllers, like I mentioned earlier. So yeah, I am out of time. I'm at 14 minutes. I tried to concise this as much as I could. It was hard to get into the time, but I hope this wasn't too long. Overall, it was a great experience. I loved how it turned out. I think this is a really cool application. And yeah, thanks for a good time. I'll see you later.